Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joe, and I am a Pampered Chef consultant. So it's been a while since I had posted a video. So what I wanted to do is post a really easy video. It's called Zucchini Carbonara, but I've also made my own modifications to it. So this is a great, easy meal option, and I've made a couple of changes, which I will probably talk them through. So what I wanted to start with here is this is the Rock Crock 4 quart. And now the great thing about the Rock Crock line is that this is a glazed clay, and what it makes it so amazing and versatile is that it is tempered to 750 degrees. You can use this on the stovetop, in the oven, microwave, broiler, out on the grill. And the best part for me is, because I'm kind of spoiled, is that it is dishwasher safe. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So what I have here is this is the small bar board. Now this is my prep area here on the stove. I'm going to cook here on the right. But with this, it has the silicone rubber edges on it. So as you can see here, you don't have to worry about it sliding when you're cooking and dicing. So I'm going to cut up some bacon to get the recipe started. So here I'm just going to take, 3 slices of bacon. Now this is the 5.5 inch utility knife. Now these are redesigned, and it has a wood handle with the 3 divots. Now the great thing about it is that it is forged from one piece of steel, so you don't have to worry about the handle breaking off. Now I'm just going to cut up this bacon into bite-sized pieces. That's where you get the carbonara part from it, because it has that nice bacon flavor to it. Now, what I always recommend is when customers are looking to make a purchase for knives or anything like that, the entire knife block set, that can be a little pricey. So I always recommend the 5.5 inch utility knife, which is this one. I just always find myself using this one more so than anything else. So we want to get these pieces small. Apparently I didn't cut them small enough. And with a good sharp knife, the great thing about it is you're not doing that back and forth sawing action if you're cutting up chicken or pork loin of beef or anything like that. And you're just doing just a couple of swipes. Now a sharper knife to me is a safer knife, because with all of that sawing action, you're more prone to cut yourself with it. So again, this is the 5.5 inch utility knife. So I'm just going to throw this here in the sink. Rinse my hands off real quick. Now, the next thing, I always cook with these two. These are the rubber spatulas. These are really popular, and I've literally had these for over 15 years. Now, I've been a consultant for about 5, and then when I decided to become a Pampered Chef consultant in 2012, the crazy thing was that as I looked around my kitchen, because we do cook regularly, I realized that I did have a lot of items already from Pampered Chef. So for me, it kind of was kind of an easy sell. And then as I got new products, I realized how great quality they are. And the first thing I did when I became a consultant was I replaced all of my cookware. The second thing I did was I replaced all of my cutlery. So one of the things that I have had for over 15 years is the garlic press. Now, as you can see, it's kind of discolored and old, and they have since redesigned it. But if it's not broke, why replace it? So to this, to the bacon that's cooking, just going to throw some crushed garlic in there. This recipe calls for 2. I like to keep it around 2. Not too strong, not too garlicky. Oops. Whew, that was a big clove. It took a little bit of work. So I'm going to cook up this bacon and this garlic. Now with the rock crock too, one thing that I always mention to everybody, this comes in a small casserole size. This comes in a 2.5 quart. This is the 4 quart, and there's an extra large 8 quart. Now there is a slow cooker base that I do have up there on top of the fridge. I guess I can show you real quick. Now the great thing about this is that they had released this last year. When you have the 4 quart and the 2.5, you can start a recipe on the stove and then drop it right into this, turn it on, and it doubles as a crock pot. So this is a pretty cool thing to have, especially for parties and at the holidays. So I just wanted to show you that real quick. Now with the rock crock, like I said, it is a glazed clay. When you're dealing with anything that is fats or sauces, you want to make sure that the entire bottom is covered, kind of keep things moving. So we're going to get this bacon going. And you don't want to cook on high, just because the high heat, you just want to be careful with it. Whenever you get anything from Pampered Chef, one thing I always recommend is always make sure you follow the use and care instructions. So that way, what you do get from Pampered Chef will last you a very, very long time. There are certain things that come with 1-year warranty, 3-year warranty. The cookware and the cutlery comes with a lifetime warranty, which is pretty good. So we're going to get this bacon cooking up. Now next up, I have another cutting board right here. Now this is the chef's knife. So again, this is that forged from one piece of steel. Now the great thing they did is they have this contour to fit your hand, and then they also have a guide here. I guess you can kind of see it there in the reflection, and that's where you put your thumb. So that's where you are safely holding things and cutting things properly, and you're holding, the knife the correct way. So for this recipe, it calls, for bacon, spiralized zucchini, which I'm going to do with the veggie spiralizer in a couple of minutes. But for this to make it more of a heartier meal, I guess you could say, I had boneless, skinless chicken thighs, which I'm going to cut up right now. So as you can see, the knife just glides right through the chicken. And you want to get these down to bite-sized pieces. So I have everything prepped all around here, off camera, I guess you could say. This isn't a very high budget cooking show like on HGTV or anything like that, or the cooking network, where I have it already made and you see me prep it and then pull it out of the oven and like voila. So I'm actually going to cook live for you so you can see how easy this is. So we're going to get this chicken all cut up nice. Keep going bite-sized pieces. So I usually just get a small pack of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. If you don't like thighs, you can do breast. That's fine. And then there's also options for vegetables in it as well, which I'm going to go over that in a couple of minutes. Okay, so chicken's all cut up, and this is the medium-sized cutting board, and this has that same features and benefits with the rubberized edges. So remember, like I said, you want to keep things moving in the pan, so that way you don't end up ruining the glaze on it. And that's per the use and care instructions again, like I said. So we've got that going. Want to get that bacon nice and cooked up. Now the bacon's going to release a lot of flavor into this recipe. So is the garlic. So let's get that cooked up a little bit. So the chicken's all cut up. And I'm just going to throw this in the sink, rinse my hands off real quick. Okay, so the bacon's a little crispy after a few minutes. So now I'm just going to go ahead and add the chicken. Okay. Okay. Another cut board. All right. Get that cooking up. So now, what I wanted to feature too for this video is the veggie spiralizer. Now, this is a very, very easy item to put together. It has one permanent blade inside, and that gives you the ribbon effect. And then there's also a blade that you pull out here that's removable. This has the thinner spaghetti and the slightly thicker linguine. So I have it already set for the slightly thicker linguine noodles, and that's what I'm going to use for the zucchini. It's just a couple more minutes on this. Okay, so with the zucchini, so now for this recipe you're going to do 4 medium-sized zucchini. I ended up just getting 3, just because that's kind of how I modified the recipe to not have so much zucchini on it. Now, what you want to do is when you're doing the veggie spiralizer, it's not going to accommodate anything taller or thicker than 4 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim these. They've already been washed. This one's a little big, so I'm just going to cut this one into 3. You can do spaghetti squash, you can do sweet potato ribbons with it. You can do all kinds of things with it. You could do the shoestring potatoes. Any vegetable that you want to spiralize, you can do that. And the crazy thing too is when you go to the supermarket, I always laugh because in the produce section they have these spiralized vegetables already there for you. But then you kind of want to think, if that's a spiralized vegetable sitting in a container, what did they spray on that to keep that from browning and stuff like that? And I'm sure you guys can see my dog walking around in the background. She can smell the chicken and bacon, and it's almost supper time for her as well. Okay, so my chicken is pretty much cooked up. And now, so with this recipe, you want to add a thickening agent. So it just calls for 2/3 of, 1 tablespoon, I'm sorry, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 2/3 of a cup of half and half. So this is where you're going to get the creaminess for the recipe. So you just grab a fork and we're just going to stir this up. And this is Stormy. Sorry, guys. She tends to photobomb all of my videos whenever I do any live virtual parties. She always photobombs it. It's so funny. Okay, so now we're just going to add this right into this. We're going to lower the heat just a little bit so that way it doesn't cook too fast. Let me just give it one more stir. Okay. Now the chicken's all cooked up. So now what this is going to do is now as this heats up, this is going to cool it down a little bit because the half and half is cold. So now what this is going to do is I'm going to give it a little stir. And I guess if you think about it, this will be a little less fattening than if you did a roux, I guess you would say, with the butter and with the cooked butter and flour. So this is going to thicken up a little bit. So now I need to start spiralizing the zucchinis. So this handle comes up, and on the bottom, on the inside, this has spikes to hold the vegetable in place. The blades are there, ready to go. And everything's going to come out of this end. So I'm just going to put this down. All right, let me lower that just a little bit. Now the great thing about this spiralizer is that it kind of works on gravity. When you see the other ones that are on the market, you will see that they kind of go on a horizontal way, where you're trying to hold the vegetable, turn it, and then push it to the side. But with this, it'll only go so far, and you'll end up with this little disc. You can save these to add to a soup or bread them. So here are the spiralized zucchini noodles. So I'm just going to add these right to the pot. And we don't want to overcook this because the zucchini will release a lot of water. So the best thing that I always do is just I throw it in the pan and then just do it enough to heat it throughout. We just remove this disc. Discard pile is over there. And this is great too if you want to, follow a specific diet, replace pasta, stuff like that. This is great for kids to do with apples and different things like that. And you can trick your kids into thinking they're eating pasta when really they're eating vegetables. So as you can see, this is literally just so easy. And I have to admit that when I first got this item, the spiralizer, it literally sat in my cabinet for a little bit. Kind of was intimidated to use it, don't know why. But a friend of mine, a fellow consultant, convinced me to use it, and as you can see, I have no problems using it at all. Now, what I want to do too is talk about the opportunities with Pampered Chef. So the special that we have right now in for July is with a qualifying party of $200 or more, you get 60% off anything in the catalog, and that includes sets. And you want to definitely look into the website because the specials change monthly. If you wanted to replace your cookware, if you wanted to replace your cutlery, this month is a great month to host a party. And parties are a lot easier than people think. You just invite a few friends, I come over, I cook for you guys. So easy. Another alternative is you could do a catalog party where I just mail you or deliver a couple of catalogs, order forms, and then you just collect some sales, and then depending on total party sales is what your free product value will be. That's very easy to do, but also another option that I started doing about a year ago is virtual parties. So it's just a matter of logging onto Facebook. I create an event, and then it just runs for 7 to 10 days, however long you want. Typically, I do 7 days. That's what's comfortable for me. And then I do a product demo where I discuss the top sellers and popular items for Pampered Chef, as well as do a live cooking demo similar to this one, except it'll be geared towards your party. And then I'll talk about your link, post the link to your party, and people shop from the comfort of their own home. So that's always a wonderful option for a lot of people. So here we have the tongs. This is great because they're silicone coated at the end, and these are the large chef tongs. So I'm just gonna give this a little bit of a stir. Because what you want to do, like I said earlier, is you don't want to heat up the pasta. See, I've already tricked my mind to thinking this is pasta. You don't want to heat up the zucchini too much, because then it'll release a lot of liquid and this dish will be a bit runny. So all we're doing here is we're just incorporating that sauce, that chicken, and that bacon throughout the noodles. So just lower that just a little bit. Zucchini is a little cold from the fridge, so we're just gonna keep stirring this. Pretty girl. Okay. Let that heat up. Then grab a dish. Oh, Lord, I almost forgot the most important piece to this. 1 second. So here we have the microplane zester and some fresh grated Parmesan cheese. So you want to get this heated up to as well. This recipe calls for 1 ounce of Parmesan cheese. And as you can see, I'm not really that great at measuring certain things, especially cheese. Now this does come with a guard that you would use up and down, but because I use this regularly, I kind of trust myself to not cut myself on this. So, but you definitely want to follow all safety precautions on these items. Okay. I'm not going to use that whole thing. Let's just get this worked out a little better. Let's get this cheese melted throughout. Now you can do this with like I said, the recipe doesn't call for chicken. I like to add the chicken to make it a little heartier, more of a meal. You can grate the Parmesan on each individual plate if you wanted to be all fancy. You can do that too. That's the great thing about Pampered Chef recipes, is that I find them to be kind of they're fun, they're easy, they're quick, but they're also kind of basic, which is pretty good. So you can modify them any which way you want, and you're free to just cook the way you want and do it the way you want. Okay, so we have that cheese nice and melted throughout that. Oops. And here we have Zucchini Carbonara from Pampered Chef. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to share my videos if you'd like. And also, my website will be posted under this video. If you are inclined to host a party so you can earn free products, again, 60% off anything in the catalog this month with a qualifying party of $200 or more in sales. So if, like I said, if you're looking for if you want to get a new pan set, you want to get new cutlery, or if you just want to get some different things and you want to replace some gadgets or the veggie spiralizer, anything, feel free to give me a call. My phone number is 508-287-6208. You can comment. I also have a Facebook page, Pampered Chef Independent Consultant Joe Furtado, and that's Furtado. So thank you so much, and hope to hear from you soon to host your own party. And also, if you would like to join my team, that's another option. And for this is a great hobby. I do work full time. I'm an office manager here where I live. But the great thing with Pampered Chef is I make my own hours. I can do things from the comfort of my own home with virtual parties. Or what I like to do is go to people's homes and cook for them. And I've just met a lot of people over the last 5 years with Pampered Chef. So I'm going to go ahead and log off, and I'm going to have supper. And hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.